Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. So in today's video, I'd like to talk about broadening the understanding of what it means to be a prepper. Now the buzzword that comes to mind here is the term prep work. If you've ever done any sort of work that requires prep work, you know the old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And what I want to talk about today is broadening our understanding of prepping, not just for prepping for disaster, but just for everyday life. In order to be successful at whatever it is you do, the shortest way to get there is to do things right the first time. There's no shortcuts to being successful. There's no shortcuts to reaching your goals. You have to go through all the motions, and what I'm guilty of more than anybody else is trying to take those shortcuts and then getting all frustrated because I didn't prepare in advance. And of course, this works itself out into me having to do things over again, time and time again, getting frustrated that things didn't work out when I damn well knew that if I would have just put in the preparation, things might have actually worked out a lot smoother. Now, as I get a little bit older, and that might be hilarious to some people who are probably much older than me, but as I approach 40, I'm starting to take my time with things a little bit more. And I found just miraculous results in terms of how much I'm able to get done and how proficient I can be at the task. Now, just to give you an example, when I'm shooting these YouTube videos, there's a couple ways I could go about it. I could rush the production of the video. I could not bother setting up the lighting, setting up the sound equipment, getting everything all properly set up, and taking whatever time I need to get all those things in order before pressing the record button. Or I can just rush into it and likely make mistakes, likely have the camera out of focus or have the microphone too far or be missing something from the video that's going to be essential and then have to redo it all over again. Another example of this would be, trying to fix something around the house and I don't get all the tools ready beforehand, or I don't do the literal prep work beforehand and the job turns out half-assed. Or I'm running back and forth to try to grab the right tools when I should have just brought the whole darn toolbox there in the first place. And this is something that, I still do from time to time. So I guess my general advice in this video is take the time to do things right the first time. The absolute shortest distance between you and your goals is doing things thoroughly and properly the first time. Taking a shortcut is a gamble. There are times when taking those shortcuts is going to work out for you, but it's a risk. And with risk comes the possibility of failure. And I'd say at least half the time, if you're not going to fail, you're going to do the job not as good as you probably could have done it. So take that time to invest in a little preparedness right now so that your future might be a little bit better. And of course, we can extrapolate this understanding to emergency preparedness, where we're talking about if I put away a few provisions now, while food is cheap, while ammunition is cheap, while medical supplies are relatively cheap, or as cheap as they're going to be, then when times get tough and when that stuff is scarce, or perhaps when I lose a job or I go through a divorce or something like that, then I'm going to have those provisions there for me to see me through that hard time. It's simple mathematics. It's making an investment. Prepping should be an investment of time. And when you take that 15 to 20 minutes to do the prep work, it seems like a burden to have to do that, but in the end, it's going to pay off 3-4 fold perhaps in terms of how much time you're actually going to save by not having to do something over. The same could apply to buying a new product. You could buy something that was very cheap, made in China, is going to last you 2 years, or you can buy something which perhaps might be twice the price, but it's going to last you 10 years. So you do the math on that. Clearly, the value of that thing is 5 times more because it's going to last you that much longer. Yet most people are going to opt for the cheaper product because in their mind they're thinking, well, I just need something to get me through right now. But in the end, you always end up regretting those purchases, or at least I do most of the time, unless it's something that you're just using to kind of get off your feet for the time being, then that's understandable. Which is why with my bug out roll system, and I'm not just I never planned to throw this pitch in there for the bug out roll, But this is why I'm making the bug out rolls domestically, because I want to ensure quality control and using the best materials, getting jobs hired here within this city, which is just miraculous that I'm a part of that. It's just incredible that what I'm doing has allowed somebody else to have a job. That's amazing. That's something I never, thought I would do. So it's fantastic that that's the case. But to get back on track here, so it's just important that if you are going to get into emergency preparedness, that you understand that prepping is a broad spectrum of things. It's not just about prepping for doomsday. Prepping isn't just about the macro scale, grid down, full-blown SHTF scenarios. It's also about the micro aspects of life. It's also about those many times throughout your day when you could rush something or you could try to take a shortcut, but in doing so, you're probably just setting yourself back. So take the time. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and there never was a wiser, more fitting statement spoken that pertain to preparedness than that. Now, part of the reason why I wanted to make this video today and not some of the videos that I have planned and ready to go is that I have a bunch of new subscribers to the channel. I posted a video the other day. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't think it would get that much attention, to tell you the honest truth. It was toilet paper tablets, and it probably got about 280,000 views in about 4 or 5 days. And then, YouTube kind of turned the tap off on that, so it's kind of slowed now to a trickle. But I was just blown away because I've never had a video in my 3 years in doing this, in the 500 videos that I've made. I've never seen those kind of numbers come in on my YouTube analytics, and I didn't know what to make of it. Really, it was foreign to me. So, I'm grateful that, I got this massive new influx of subscribers, but I don't know the demographic that they're coming from. I don't know if they're preppers or survivalists or people who just are into camping, or maybe they just like the idea of compressed towels. Then that's great. But so I wanted to make this video a bit more general before I dive back into the specific stuff. And more often than not, I try to keep the content on this channel generally applicable or universal in nature. So it's not just to do with the die-hard people who are preparing for the collapse of society as we know it, even though everybody to some extent or another should be, because indeed society as we know it could collapse. Don't be fooled by the too big to fail mentality that permeates Western society. I've done many videos that talk about why that sort of reasoning is very fallacious and very dangerous. So go back and check out some of my other videos. The more universal videos I do along the lines of gear reviews, a lot of innovative gear that's not even really contained under the umbrella of prepping and survival is reviewed on this channel because I like cool technology. I'm not one of these Luddite people who's afraid of technology and I want to go retreat into the wilderness and distance myself as far as possible from all power lines. That's not my shtick. If that's your shtick, then fine. All the more power to you. At some point, yes, I might want to look into that sort of lifestyle, because it is getting harder and harder to keep up with the pace of modern life. This technology, the YouTube feeds, the Facebook feeds, the Instagram, the blah, blah, blah. It's hard to just, keep up with this technology thing. And every once in a while, we all need a good digital detox. So in terms of the content that's coming up on the channel in the next few weeks, I have a guest coming on the program who is a prepper pundit of sorts. Goes by the name of All-American Prepper. Some of you might be familiar with him, some of them not. Pretty controversial character. He's going to be breaking down a video by another YouTuber and giving you his brutally unfiltered and probably inappropriate commentary on that video. So stick around for that. I also got a lot of gear reviews coming up as usual, and a lot of just these topical videos where I talk about different aspects of preparedness, the theory behind preparedness, the strategy, after the collapse type stuff. I've had some questions about why I'm not doing a lot of after the collapse type videos anymore, and it's a lot to do with the returns. Now, this is the thing. I can do a video that I can put together in 5 or 6 hours called Toilet Paper Tablets, and that video can, bing, get 280,000 views. Or I can do one of these after the collapse documentaries of sorts, which take me days, if not weeks, to research, film, narrate, edit, and at best they're only getting like 20,000 views. So it's just not really a good investment of my time to devote a lot there. Now, when I get the inkling to make one of those videos, I'm not held back by the fact that it's only going to get so many views, because I'm passionate about it and I want to talk about it and I want to learn about it in the process and educate myself while I educate others about the particular topic. But if it doesn't come easy, I try not to force things. One of the topics that I would like to talk about, but I'm just not sure how to approach it quite yet, is the idea of race after a grid down scenario and devoting a specific after the collapse video to that particular issue. So you can show your support by the After the Collapse series in a few ways. You can obviously go and you can like and share those videos. That's probably the best way. Like, share, comment, because they've basically now been pushed way back onto the YouTube conveyor belt, and most of them only get maybe 10 views a day. And these are videos which required massive amounts of money and time in order to produce. The other thing you can do is you can support the channel by buying a bug out roll, which is probably one of the most unique ways to organize your gear in the field. Something that's made in Canada. It's going to last for a damn long time because all the materials that are in there are very high quality materials. And it's embarrassing if I told you how much it cost me to make each roll, because my profit margins are very menial. I've had so many people say, Nate, here, we can help you make this overseas and we can get this made cheaper and blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to have a part in that. You know, maybe at some point I'll have a poll by you, the viewer, and ask you what you think I should do about that. But we'll save that for another video. There's other ways you can support the channel. You can support it via Patreon. You can support it via donation. You know, I might do a super chat at some point. But all of those things, when I'm taken care of and when my investment of time in this channel is compensated in that way, then I don't mind taking time away from my family and my own personal development and all other aspects of preparedness, which do get neglected by me making these videos. If I wasn't making these videos, and I'm not looking for pity here or anything like that, I would be a much more well-rounded, knowledgeable prepper. Unfortunately, in the last 3 years, a lot of that time has went towards this channel and not developing my skill sets as I should be. Anyways, I'll leave that to you guys. So remember, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Take the time the first time. Do things right the first time. You know, if there were so many times in my life where I would be so far ahead right now if I would have just been able to take the advice that I'm giving right now. And a part of the reason why I make these videos is that they are notes to self. They reflect psychological benchmarks of my own personal evolution of thought and just how I live my life. And what I've been doing lately is making sure that I invest whatever time I need for whatever task it might be. Invest the time in prepping, and the outcome is going to be far better in the end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Canadian Prepper out.